Let's bring in CBS News national security contributor Samantha Vinograd. She is a former assistant secretary for counterterrorism at the Department of Homeland Security. Sam, good morning. It's great to see you.
Good morning, Weija.
So a U.S. official tells CBS News that a deal is imminent. President Trump says, though, he doesn't want negotiators to rush into anything. And it feels like we've been in this very place for months now. So where are we?
Well, Weija, if anyone is waking up this morning with a sense of deja vu, they are not alone. We are both seemingly on the cusp of a deal, really, to talk about a deal, an interim agreement that would open the Strait of Hormuz and really lay out a framework for negotiations on the thorny issue of Iran's nuclear program. But at the same time, President Trump and his officials are stating that military operations could resume if negotiations fall through. So it's unclear where we really are. But Weija, having worked on these kinds of high-level negotiations for the U.S. government, including with the Iranians, I do want to emphasize that these ups and downs are not unusual. Negotiating with the Iranians is known to be a roller coaster. The 2015 Iran nuclear deal took 20 months to negotiate, and there were a lot of fits and starts. So it's not unusual that we see these ups and downs. It's just unusual it's all playing out so publicly.
And Sam, based on the little information we know so far about this current framework, some Republicans, including Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, they're already criticizing President Trump because they say that this looks a lot like the deal that President Obama put together, that the U.S. entered, and then, of course, President Trump pulled out of. So what does the president have to do here to make it look different from that other deal?
Well, while we don't know not only what President Trump wants from the Iranians this time, we also don't know what the Iranians will agree to in this round of negotiations. But if we look back at the 2015 nuclear deal, critics at the time focused on the fact that that deal only attacked the Iranian nuclear program. It did not, for example, address Iranians' missile capabilities, which were used to continue destabilizing the region. They also focused on the fact that Iran did get certain sanctions relief and access to funds that had been frozen abroad that critics claimed the regime was using to continue to wreak havoc. And they also focused, when it came to the limits that the deal put on Iran's nuclear program, they focused on the fact that Iran was allowed to continue a very low level of enrichment of uranium that could be used for civilian purposes. So today, those critics probably want to see President Trump get the Iranians to agree to remove any vestige of its nuclear program, including its civilian nuclear program, from Iran, including its uranium and potentially plutonium enrichment capabilities, its research and development capabilities, its advanced machinery, and more. And they probably also want to see the deal include some focus on Iran's missile capabilities and no sanctions relief.
All right, but Sam, we went from the president saying that the only acceptable terms were unconditional surrender to now negotiations and diplomacy. What leverage does the United States actually have to permanently keep the straits open and to eliminate Iran's nuclear capabilities?
Well, Vlad, there's really two tracks here, and this is where it probably comes back to President Trump listening to his intelligence community. One track is military operations. Certainly, the United States has shown that it can continue to target senior Iranian officials as well as Iranian infrastructure to try to use military might to force the regime to crumble. That has not proven successful so far. So the other tool that the United States has is financial pressure in the form of its military blockade. The Iranian regime certainly has a lot of leverage in terms of the economic pressure it's putting on the United States as well as the global economy.
Sam Vinograd, thank you so much.